Hello. Today is Sunday, December 12th, 2021, and this is the board meeting of the Board of Directors for the Continuing Committee. My name is Charles Plain, Midnight Lit on the forums. I am the Director of First Edition and the current Chair of the Board, although probably only for another month or two. Well, definitely only for another month or two, which is good. As I get the links here to post this on the forums and the Discord channels, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves, starting with Brian.
Brian Schaeflein, Jeebus on the board, Director of Operations. You go, Justin.
Justin, Resistance is Future on the boards, Chief Financial Officer.
Chris. Chris.
I muted him. So while Chris is unmuting, I'll introduce myself. I'm Maggie Geppert, Jadzia Daxate on the boards, and the Executive Officer.
You might not know how to unmute it.
There you go. No. I may have done a bad thing when I muted him. All right, so it's Chris Sonstaby. He's Laura on the boards. He's here on his phone. And as he'll admit, he's a dinosaur. Technology is not his friend.
If you can't figure out how to unmute, you can drop and come back in, I think, and that'll fix it. But Chris is here. He is awesome. So. All right, let's get into it. As I realized, I forgot to pull up my agenda. I think the first thing is approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which I believe was in September. You had all told us you wanted us to do this less often, so we did. So has anyone had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting? And would anyone like to move to approve them?
I remember seeing them back then, but I will quickly re-review them now before I motion.
That's fair. Ryan just got back from like 3 weeks of getting married and honeymooning and stuff, so I don't blame his brain for not braining quite.
Yeah, I remember looking at them, and it has been, back since September. So doing the same thing. I didn't see anything that was out of place, and I think that anymore now I would not.
Well, I will.
I would not remember if there was some. I think I would have said something if I had noticed something before. So I'll move to approve.
Well, we can. I can table the approval of the minutes till the next meeting. We'll just have 2 sets to approve then, but we'll have to remember to read through them before our meeting.
I just went back through them again. They seem fine to me, so I will motion to approve.
All right, then I'll take Maggie's as a second. Is there anyone opposed to approving the minutes from our last meeting? Okay, then they are approved. Moving on to our department reports. We will start with Maggie.
So you will be seeing more action from me coming up soon because the period of review is coming up. That's on the to-do list to set up the threads in the forum. For our members who may have noticed that a while ago, the ops rearranged the order of the fora, and the period of review forum is now for everybody all the way at the bottom. So you're going to have to scroll, people who want to look at the period of review stuff.
When that starts, I can just move it back up to the top. That won't be a big problem.
Okay, that works for me. So yeah, I will be starting that up soon because we'll have probably our next meeting is going to be the period of review meetings for answering questions and stuff from the public. So if you are interested in being the person to moderate those questions, please send me a PM at jadzia@8 on boards. There will be an article about all this. That's on the to-do list. Next week is finals, so that's after that I'll have a little more time for Trek. But I have also been running Peldor Joy, our gratitude festival that we've done in the past. So we've got a couple of folks who have asked to run Peldor Joy, have me flag their events as Peldor Joy. I'm running 2 Peldor Joy tournaments online, one second edition Fractured Time Sealed, one Warp Speed for first edition, Enhanced Premier Warp Speed. So those are ongoing. Yeah, so it's been, if you don't know what Peldor Joy is, it's basically, we're taking it as an opportunity to show our gratitude for our community and the communities we live in. So for the Peldor Joy, you run it as the entry fee for your tournaments is canned goods to go to your local food bank. Also with this is the continuing committee gift exchange that our forum member Pazuzu runs. So that's the date to join that has already passed, but there are people who are doing that. I got to think about presents for the person who I am Secret Santa-ing. So that's what's been up with me besides playtesting, second edition, that sort of thing. So that's what I've been working on. We don't have a, well, I'll let Charlie do his 1E thing. I can do a 2E report real quick if anybody.
I didn't get anything from Shark, so we can just skip on that too. Real quick for first edition, we put out one set and they're in the middle of putting out another. The Trial Never Ended came out, 9 new cards and a whole bunch of cleanup on the queue mechanic. And we're just wrapping up our release event for that, and I'm really excited to see what people were doing. Maggie, you played in that. How was your queue shenanigans?
My queue shenanigans, I think that they are, well, okay, it's a little hard to say because the Continuum was Highlander as part of the event. But I am enjoying I'm enjoying the errata to the queue dilemma that makes the little flash. That's a lot of fun.
That's one of my favorite changes. And I know there are players who wanted it to go back to the way it was, but I just don't see rearranging the space line coming back into 1E. It's just too much. So.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you can still do that a little bit with Blade of Decon and Black Hole. And so that's, so that's that. Some people are calling that a NPE. I don't think it is. But then again, I will say this since I'm done with all my games. I seeded Examine Singularity because I was expecting at least one black hole in this tournament and I never saw it. I was really hoping somebody would Blade Decon me right into the black hole and I'll be like, yoink. So, but no, the new Q errata is really fun. The way I set it up was my dilemma combo was Borg ship, Shula the Chandra, Q, and then downloading Don't Provoke the Borg with the Q because I like fun. But then I realized that there is a danger with Don't Provoke the Borg, which is my opponent could totally move the Borg ship right where my ship was. So you gotta be really strategic about that. So that was the thing that I learned. But my deck, I built a Vulcan scheme deck, and so I was amused by having both Vulcans and Q saying, nope, back where you came from. Back where you came from. I'm dropping schemes. I had Q nets. It was for like nail biting games. I only won one, but I kept everybody else to mod wins with that Vulcan deck. So I think those people who are like, oh, we need to slow down, those super speed solvers. Look at Vulcans, folks. That's what they're supposed to do.
They are thoroughly annoying. So, and so give the Q stuff a try if you haven't, and there will be more Q stuff in the future. I'm actually working on a set right now, and it's got more Q shenanigans in it. When we're releasing Second Star to the right as we speak, it comes out this coming Friday. It's legal on Christmas Eve, and I'll be running another online release tournament. It's going to be crazy and fun. I'm very excited about it. And work continues on all of our other projects. You can check out the project status report, thread, and articles for more details. But the second half of the TOS movie set is testing well. The TNG movie set is going to go into testing soon, and we're marching on forward with a lot of exciting winning content for you. As I said, we don't have Chark here, and he didn't send me anything. We don't have Chark or Scott here, so we'll skip second edition in communications and go straight to ops and have Brian give us his report.
Well, Charlie, if you want, I can do a 2E report. Chark has a article coming out soon, so I can certainly go from the article.
Well, I'd rather just let him speak for himself. And,
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, though. So I imagine Brian's report is going to be, I wish I was still in the tropics and not here, but let's let him speak for himself.
Yeah, there's not a lot to report from ops side. Marcus Eberlin's on the board. He has been working on a new trade manager feature, so you can put your collection, your card collection in, do haves and want lists. And so he posted in the trading forum that if you are interested in helping him test that and give him some feedback, send him a PM. So I know, Charlie, you've been testing that a bit. So yeah, there is some operational, it is somewhat operational, maybe even most of the way there, I might say. And so folks who are interested in that sort of thing, definitely PM Marcus about it. What else? I just reactivated all the promenade items that we had since my hiatus. I turned them off so that people wouldn't be ordering things that wouldn't be shipped for weeks. So they're all back on now. What else? I don't know that anything much else has happened since September, which is surprising. But other than the set releases and the new achievements that have gone along with them, I don't know that a lot has happened in our department. So that's me.
All right, and then last but certainly not least, we'll hear from Justin. Well, and Chris, if you can figure out how to unmute.
Yeah, not much has been going on. I did finish game mostly caught up, got the recap out to the community, and got some additional reminders and safeguards in place so that we can maintain this on time going into the new year. Lot of updates to the recap. Obviously, the community was where we reduced monthly expenses, got several of the expenses finally 86th and terminated. Was a battle. So we're sitting about $170 per month, basically to keep the lights on and keep the website going. So we're healthy, no emergent issues. So all is good.
Chris, I'm going to suggest, since you're having trouble unmuting, if you drop out of the call and reconnect, that should solve the problem. I have to throw a naughty dog out of my room. Hold on. Come here. Get out.
And for anyone who, while Chris is doing that has not visited the forums in a while, you can find all of the bank statements and all of the tracking information in the FYI forum section. It is at the top, continuing committee bank statements.
Thank you for taking care of that, Justin. Yeah. All right. While we wait for Chris to get back, let us continue forward. We have a couple pieces of old business. Mostly we were asked to consider if the forums needed some sort of official language policy. I don't have the specific details, and actually it looks like Chris is back, so I'll put a pin in that real quickly and let Chris make his report for us.
Sure. I'm hoping you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Great. Well, obviously, organized play, when you're talking backwards towards September, the big thing was Worlds. Maggie and I tag teamed our way through Worlds in Chicago. We crowned 3 new world champions. I think most of us were actually there. So thanks to everybody who traveled and played, and congrats again to our 3 winners. Since then, we had British nationals and German nationals. So a couple other high-level gigs, and we've had some leagues that have been going on, and locals kind of all over the place: Austria, Germany, Alabama, Florida, online, Tennessee, California. So a lot of groups are still on the sidelines. A lot of groups are coming back. With, again, still in that weird pandemic time where you keep having Delta variants and Omicron variants, whatever else. So if you feel comfortable play, get together and play. Otherwise, you can always play online. And if you'd rather just drink and socialize, Maggie's got Tribbles on Tuesday night for that too. So I guess my big reminder is we are still taking applications for and bids for high-level tournaments for next year. Next year, maybe you know, maybe you don't. It is the year of Dominion. And this year we are kind of changing things up a little bit with the foils, given that Dominion is such a wide-ranging group of factions kind of all together under one banner. So as a teaser, look for different kind of way of doing foils this year for high-level tournaments from across all of them, Tribbles, nationals, regionals, all the way up to Worlds. So I'm looking forward to them.
I've got at least one on my computer if you want me to tease one for you. I'll throw one up.
Which one do you want to spoil? There's so many good images that you guys' art teams did.
I don't know, man. I gotta look here. Let me figure it out.
Maggie, any suggestions? Maggie
I'll
knows
put
what they all
Tribbles
are.
card. That way nobody feels left out. Let's see.
There are a lot of fun Tribbles ones this year.
They're all good.
I feel like there's one that we all picked right away based off of who it is and what the power is, but I don't know if that's the one you've got on your computer or not.
Well, you just tell me which one you want. I've got them all. So.
Do the defective Wayun then.
Okay. That was clone in reverse, right? I think.
Correct.
Let me find it. Yeah.
Inside nerd joke there for everybody.
Oh yeah, we like our inside nerd jokes. That's half the reason I think all of us do any of this, so we can make really terrible inside nerd references.
Right.
There it is. All right, let me figure out how to share this. I have to get it to open in the right program. Okay. Share screen. Share that screen. You should now have the most ridiculous image Andrea has ever made. And she's made ridiculous images up on your screen. I believe this is for Trek. This is for Trek Masters.
This is your Masters Nationals spoiler, right? Because
yeah,
we got a different one for regionals that I know of. Not that one. I think that's right. I think it's Nationals Masters.
So if you're not able to watch the stream, it's a clone in reverse, and it's Wayun from the Defective Wayun episode with he and Odo. My brain says that's treachery, faith in the Great River, but I may be wrong on that. But he's eating something, and the something is on a stick and has been replaced with a Tribble, and it's pretty ridiculous. So it's pretty great.
I was personally impressed with how Andrea, she couldn't do our direction for the Worlds promo, but she came up with a great alternative idea. So I was very, very impressed with what she did on that one.
So these are all done. All the 1E2E Tribbles promos are done for next year. They're not put together yet, but Chris, are we gonna show them off pretty early in the year then, or are we gonna scatter it throughout the year? Do you have a plan for that?
I don't currently have a plan. I know that you and I kind of ad hoc it typically. I just, again, can't thank the art teams enough. I mean, Maggie and I and some of the other organized play people just kind of like kick around ideas, and they're not at all fleshed out. I mean, I think that one was because we wanted to do clone reverse, have fun with, you know, something with defective Wayland, right? And I mean, that kind of goes for all of them. We pick the characters, but we let art kind of just do their thing. And Andrea's never failed to impress me, especially on the Tribble side, and neither has Johnny or Mike Shea's group too. So they're all great.
Yep, I'm pretty happy with all of them. So, Year of the Dominion. We did order the playmats and buttons, I believe, already. I think those are already in stock, are in hand. So, should be exciting next year.
Are they brown? Are they ugly?
I mean, they're Dominion brown, but
Bronzy kind of colored?
I don't know, Brian, you have them, right? Somewhere.
I don't know yet. I had someone else ask me right before the meeting about what we have in inventory, so I have to go back and look. It's been at least a month since I opened the big box of everything, so I will.
Well, we ordered the 2021 Bajoran ones and the 2022 Dominion ones all at the same time. So you probably got a huge box of playmats, and I know you got an enormous box of buttons. So.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do remember the mats. I have all the mats for Dominion. I have to look at everything now.
I think they're as bright and colorful as our previous ones, but I think Ferengi is next year, so that should be fun. So, Ferengi is 2023. You can get that obnoxious orange everywhere. Yeah.
Marmalade. That
Anything
doesn't
else
remind me
OP-wise,
if you are
Chris?
old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Anything else OP-wise?
I was just going to say, does remind me, Brian, thank you. If you are owed a Bajoran mat, please reach out to your continental coordinator or to me directly, because obviously we just got those in. We know they did not go out with the kits, correct? And so we're going to have to mail them out separately.
I have shipped to, let's see, UK and Germany, I believe. So if you have not gotten yours and you're in the UK or Germany, yeah, definitely let us know. And anyone else who has not gotten theirs and should have them, let us know. I tried to go back through and find them all, but it's entirely possible I missed them.
Yeah, because I think German,
Better to have.
TUI and Tribbles German Master or German Nationals, I think, are happening this weekend, which might be why Chuck's not here. I don't remember if we shipped to them or not.
We'll get it
I did
squared.
send it to Jark, and
Okay.
he said he could pass along the extra ones to the others as well. So assuming they got there in time, I haven't checked tracking obviously for a few weeks. So assuming they got there in time, he should have them by now. But the international shipping, as we've all seen lately, has been a grind. So yeah.
Yeah, everything's a grind, isn't it? So. All righty.
Truer words when spoken.
So going back to the old business, we had a request, and forgive me if I misspeak, but I believe the request came from our moderation team for us to talk about if we wanted to have a language policy on the board. And what that means is we have a lot of people who speak a lot of different languages, and sometimes there are posts made entirely in German, and those are difficult for the moderation team to moderate if they find it necessary. And so they were saying, you know, do we want this as a language policy? And I said we would bring it up and discuss it. At previous meeting, we didn't have, I think we only had 4 of us and we tabled the matter. I don't want to continue tabling things. So I bring this point up for discussion. I have some strong thoughts on this, but I would like to hear where the rest of you are. I will say that whatever we decide, if there is a decision to enact a new policy, it gets drafted, it gets posted on the forums for everyone to comment on, and then it gets voted on at a future meeting. This isn't something that is going to just happen. So,
I know it's difficult for the moderators to moderate, but you know, the Google Translate is pretty good now. Now, that doesn't, of course, do anything with intent, but we do have people on the forums who've volunteered to be like advocates, you know, people who do speak other languages. So I don't know. I feel that that's a bit on the that's a bit Anglo-centric for my comfort level. Plus, I really enjoy when the unit guys are dicking around in German and going and figuring out what they said and laughing at that. But that's me. So I hate to see that flavor go away, because you know, most of the time it's tongue-in-cheek. Most of the time people are just having a good time. But that's where I'm at right now.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I guess I would echo Maggie's comments. It feels like it's inclusive to allow people to write in other languages, and I mean, as I think all of us know, certain words don't even translate at all to English. But again, it just boils down to don't be that guy. You know, you shouldn't be posting in another language if you're just trying to be a dick on the forums. Like, you can do that in any language. So I guess that's my take. I like seeing it. I think it's fun. Like Maggie said, when they're razzing each other. And as long as, you know, the moderators don't have to do a whole lot of extra work to translate it to make sure it's fine, I guess, you know, in the age of the internet, I would hope that it wouldn't be that difficult. But to your point, you don't know intent either.
Anyone else like to weigh in on the topic?
That's
But
pretty much my opinion too. What you two said. It might minorly inconvenience the moderators in that they don't directly speak the language, but if they really do feel like this, you know, particular comment, whatever that might be out of hand, there are definitely a handful of active players for most of the languages we have. So, you know, maybe send them a message and see what they think. And I don't know, like it's sort of like the moderators' normal job is they got to use their judgment, you know, their best judgment to come to the conclusions they're making. That doesn't change because it's in another language. It just adds another step, I think.
I might change my opinion if Monty 42 continues to refuse to explain what a yodeletto is, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty strongly against language policy, with the caveat that the moderators, I would like to see a German-speaking moderator, because that seems to be the language that this comes up the most in, and I'm not trying to single anyone out, which would immediately solve the problem, because this is a German host, German speaker, it can do that automatically. I'd say the current status quo, the moderators are going to moderate based on what Google Translate tells them, and then it's not ideal, but we have an appeals process for when things are missed. So I am not at all interested in requiring English on the forum. I just don't think that's useful, and it's going to be divisive and not inclusive. So. It sounds like we will not be adding a language policy. So I think that's good. I will pass that along. Next on our old business was doing more work to revise our list of forums and how our forums are structured. And we tabled this last time because I believe both Brian and Shark were gone. Brian is here, but Chark is still not here. So we could talk about this a little bit. Well, the reason I was hoping Chark would be involved was I know one of the forums in particular that's been talked about just being deleted was the 2E Excelsior forum. That was an experiment we tried and failed, and it just doesn't need to be there anymore. I don't want to speak for Chark, but I don't think anybody would mind if that one went away. What's your stance on forum pruning, Brian? Like, when we remove a forum, does it get archived somewhere? So if we needed content from it, we can get it, or how big of a pain in the ass is it for you?
It is less of a pain to kind of disable it, as far as like no one will see it, no one will be able to post in it. That's less of a pain than, say, putting it into a new separate forum that's archives, which is still publicly viewable, but no one can comment on it, because changing the permissions seems to be considerably messier than actually just like moving it to where no one can see it anymore and no one can post in it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but like if you move it like you're saying, where it's disabled and hidden, somebody can go find it and look through it, right? So if there is
it would still exist. It would still exist. Just no one would be able to see it, and no one would be able to post in it.
Right, but like if as operations, if there was a, hey, this was a thread that has information that we need in it, it could be found.
Yes.
Okay. That would
It
be my biggest
it could be
concern.
found. It could be found by someone with like the administrator privileges to go and reset like change the settings and put it back. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think our practice these days is, even like the moderators, things don't get deleted, things get moved. So they get moved somewhere where no one can see it, basically. Because deleting things, like you said, if you delete information, you never get it back. Like, whereas if you keep it around just somewhere where no one can see it, you could still go back and reference it.
So it sounds like technically we can prune and rearrange our forums as much as we want. I guess then the question becomes, what do we want to do with our forum structure? Like, I know you had moved where things fall on the list, which is great. I know Chris is a big fan of having the OP stuff right up at the top, and I am too.
Sure.
So I guess this is let's turn it on the community and say, what do you guys want us to do with our forum structure? Like, how can we make things better in 2022? Like, these were set up 15 years ago, and they largely mirrored what the Cypher had done for 5 years before that. So how can we improve the names of our forums, the layout of our forums, the organization of our forums? I mean, obviously each director should be able to weigh in on their wheelhouse. No, I wouldn't want anybody changing anything in the OP forums without Chris's permission. I certainly wouldn't want 1E forums getting messed with without my input. But so yeah, why don't we? I suggest we open up some threads and let our members comment on what they want to see, and then we can sort of tackle this as a big project moving into next year. How does that work for everybody?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
fine
that seems
with
like a good compromise.
Okay, so stay tuned for that, everyone. We do have one other piece of old business. Brian Sykes, Armist on the Forums, reminded us that a couple months ago, there were a couple members that expressed some discomfort with the precedent we had set about the use of a certain phrase triggering a lifetime ban. I was one of those members, and as far as I can recall, the other two are not here. But so I don't want to get too deep into this discussion. I know Chris maybe had a little of this and Justin, but I know it was Chark and Scott and I were the ones that were like, we really need to do something about this. I can honestly say we haven't done much discussion about it. Not for lack of, not because it's not important, but simply because everybody's been busy with about a million other things. So my answer to that status update is, at least personally, this is something I still would like to work on and move forward on. It's just not made any progress. Would anyone else like to add anything more to this topic?
I guess I would just add, obviously, we know the peer review is coming up. All of us are going to be up for votes, and I would hate to make a decision now that could impact potentially my predecessor, or whoever succeeds me, and kind of tie their hands. And I know that that's kind of a wishy-washy answer, but we're very close to peer review votes. I'd feel a lot better, I guess, making a solid decision, knowing I'd pass peer review, knowing that this decision is going to be at least in force for the next year, than potentially handing someone a choice that they don't agree with.
I would also point out, built into the bylaws is an appeals process for lifetime bans given by the board. To my knowledge, nobody has asked to be reinstated. No one has appealed their lifetime ban. So if somebody wants back in, we can go through the appeal process.
Yeah, we definitely we're forward thinking enough to build that in. I just think that I know the issue, and I don't want to speak for Brian, and I know if I'm misrepresenting his position, I will hear about it. But some of us had expressed some discomfort with the precedent that we'd set ourselves of, this triggers an immediate lifetime ban, and less the process by which that happens, but more the specific situation. So I don't disagree that there is a process for appealing those decisions and getting reinstated, and I think that's a good thing. I'm not looking to change any of that, but rather to change, our perspective on things, I guess. So it's a complicated issue, and we've had difficulty. One of the reasons you're getting a board meeting now is because it was basically, if we want one before the end of the year, we have to get off the pot. I mean, we've been trying since October to find a time where we can get more than 4 people on a call. This was about the best we could do. So it's just been a busy section of the year for everybody. Again, not an excuse, just this is why it hasn't happened. It's not tabled, it's not being ignored, it's just not been something we've been able to sit and actively discuss.
On this topic, though, of it's so the first time we had to ban someone for saying, they would see us in court, pointedly saying it, we said, don't do that. If you do this, we'll have to ban you. We don't want to, but we'll have to, because you are trying, we're telling you this is a threat we have to take seriously. And so we went months without that being an issue, and then folks started doing it again. So yeah, it's not that complicated. Just don't do it. It's the one thing you can't do if you want to keep your membership. And if you want your membership back, ask. I'm not saying you're going to get it back, but if you ask for it back, we'll consider it. It's not complicated. I don't think anything about this is complicated.
All right, moving on to new business. And we touched on both of these already, but I would like to touch on them briefly once again. Financial reports. So Justin, I think that you would agree with me when I said you didn't do your job here most of the year, right? You're supposed to post monthly reports, and we didn't really get that. Is that inaccurate? I mean, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just, my question is, given that they weren't done, in spite of people asking about them, what is going to happen moving forward to make sure that they're done on a monthly basis?
As I had mentioned, I've got additional reminders put on, you know, other media outlets. Mainly, I've got reminders on my work computer as well for personal appointments. So it reminds me, you know, when the month is over, within the first week, you know, when those statements get generated, to get that posted on the website.
Okay. I think that's a good step. So did you want to get into any more detail about the financial reports? Were there any questions that you'd received or nuances that you wanted to touch on, or is the thing you posted?
There's been nobody's commented in the thread, and they've been up for about a week. Nobody's commented on them except for James Heaney. Didn't really have anything negative to say about them. I mean, I think it speaks for them. It speaks for themselves. You know, costs have been reduced. Costs, you know, have been addressed and taken care of. You know, lesson learned. You know, if we change internet vendors, it is very difficult to stop payments with an internet vendor because they claim they don't get your request, or they just keep charging you. It's an oversight, blah blah blah, which we saw with Cisco and eBallot. You know, we stopped that service, and yet they kept charging us, and then yet it's very difficult to get a hold of somebody to try to deal and get the money back. So yeah, internet purchases are like that, which we'll have to keep in mind. But everything is taken care of, and we're down to just 3 monthly payments a month. The website, stamps.com, which that will never go away because we have to ship products. So that's just the cost of shipping. And then, of course, Zoom, which we use not only for this call, but people use it in communications. Other departments use the Zoom account for their department meetings. So it's worth the investment.
On the hosting side, and this is not a concrete plan in any way, but I have been looking in how to reduce that, because there are ways we can offload hosting of assets we have, like documents and images and whatnot, to reduce our actual website server load. And then once that's possible, we can use a different sort of server. And I don't want to overcomplicate the discussion, but that would be significantly cheaper. But that is a very, very, very large project for undertaking. So it is very much only just a concept plan in my head at the moment. I won't even say that it will be in 2022 that it can happen, but there is a possibility to significantly reduce the monthly hosting charge, but it's a big project.
Okay. And lastly, as Maggie mentioned in her report, we will be doing our period of review in the first 2 months of 2022. Those of you, if you're not familiar with what the period of review is, essentially we require you we ask you to review our conduct over the last year, and we take questions and we talk about our successes and our failures. And then we are held accountable with a vote to retain each board member, in which you can say, I like the job that you're doing and you should stay, or I don't like the job you are doing and you should be replaced. We take this seriously, so I would just appeal to anyone out there who is invested in the process and thinks it can be improved to start some discussions about what can change, what you think can change. And anyone who doesn't really know about the process and has questions, to ask them. And we'll be here to answer the questions about the process. Maggie, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Just another appeal. Normally we do in the past, I should say, we have done our question and answer sessions moderated by a member of the community who asks questions, who does follow-ups. And but the last couple of years, we've had trouble finding anyone who's been willing to do that job. You know, some of the people who've done it in the past are pretty heavily involved in the various departments now. So we're looking for somebody. I'm always looking for somebody who would be willing to be the moderator for this for this process. Somebody who will take all the questions that are on the peer review boards, pull them together, make that, you know, and then ask them of the community. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Send me a PM. I'm Jadzia8, both on the boards and both Discord channels, the CC and the Dojo. So you can find me in all sorts of places. Just don't look for me on Facebook because I'm not there.
That is the end of everything we had on our agenda. So I'm going to ask anyone who might be listening or watching, if you have something you want us to discuss, now's the time to post it in any of the Discord channels, on forums, or in the YouTube chat. While I wait for the delay to catch up and anybody to comment on anything, I'm going to go around the room and ask everybody what their plans are for Christmas or other winter-themed holiday. Brian, what are you doing for the holidays this year?
Flying to Colorado.
You got family there, or just going skiing?
In-laws. So yes. So who knows? Maybe the promenade will be shut down for another week at the end of December. I haven't thought that far ahead. Sorry.
That's fair. Justin, how about you? What are you doing for the holidays?
Just staying local. Family's local, so I don't have to travel anywhere.
Nice.
Good.
Chris?
We're staying local this year. We went to October and saw Little Inside. Went to Chicago in October, and the rest of her family, which we normally see, is still in Canada. So neither of us want to deal with 14-day quarantines on either side. So we are just hang out with my family, I think.
Maggie?
We are planning to drive through the Southeast. We're going to go visit my in-laws in South Carolina. So I don't know, maybe we'll be there a couple weeks. Maybe I'll go and see a wild Scott Bauman in North Carolina. He's not that far from my in-laws' house.
In his natural habitat, isn't that dangerous?
And a gooey chewy too.
Just crash his house to show up unannounced.
Yeah. That I think just so I can see that amazing nerd cave he has, like live and in person, because that would be awesome. With the wood paneling, I love the wood paneling. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're still talking about, because it's 2 weeks. We're gonna take some time to drive down and look at see various landmarks and things. We might take the kids to see Rock City. See 7 states from Ruby Falls. We might go do that.
Nice.
On Lookout Mountain. And those of you who have driven through Kentucky and Tennessee and Alabama know exactly what I'm talking about. You see the barns. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Relaxing there. We did Thanksgiving in St. Louis with our families who live there. So it'd be nice to go to South Carolina.
Awesome. I am going to see my parents for the first time in about a decade. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
First time I've been on a plane since all this started, and I'm very nervous about it, but we'll see. So
it's weird.
Last time I flew anywhere was Gen Con 2019. So.
Yeah, planes are weird now.
I don't like planes at all, and you know. I was this close to going to Worlds, and I just couldn't really get over my nervousness about everything. And parents, I haven't seen my folks in forever, and then time passes, so I wanted to go see them, and decided it was worth the risk. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm extremely nervous about it. So I have not seen any comments on any of the channels. Has anyone else seen anything, any requests from public?
The main one I think was from Ross. He asked that like in the future when we post the agendas, have the link to the past meeting minutes like in the agenda. Like where we say meeting approved minutes, blah blah blah. Just like have that be the link to those minutes.
That is a good suggestion, and I will remember to do that.
Should we back the archive thread? Will have all the minutes, so you should be able to grab the link there.
And I just stickied that in the forum too, so that it would be near the top, so it wouldn't be too hard to find.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, unless there's anything else that you would like to discuss, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I will motion
I'll move to adjourn.
or second for Chris.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second. Anyone opposed to adjourning this final board meeting of 2021? All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you all for participation. Thank you all for watching now or later. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or anyone here if you have comments on or thoughts about anything we discussed. Everyone have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, joyous Kwanzaa, and a lovely Festivus, and be safe in the new year. And we will see you, I'm guessing in January for another board meeting or at least a peer to review Q&A.